You have seen Mi Familia 100 times, quoted the lines, and cried at the same scenes. But do you actually know what went into making it? This is not just another family drama. Behind those images of Boyle Heights and Michoacan are wild production stories, buried history, and career moves that changed Hollywood forever. In this video, you will learn how Jennifer Lopez used a small early role to launch something much bigger, how a real deportation program tore families apart, and what it meant to have the White Fence gang literally watching from the bridge. Stay locked in because these 10 facts build on each other, and the most shocking truth is waiting at the very end. Fact number 1. Mi Familia was one of Jennifer Lopez's key early breakthroughs and a stepping stone on the road to Selena. She is credited as young Maria in the film, but in 1995, she was still best known as a dancer and emerging actor, not yet the global J-Lo brand we think of today. Mi Familia put her in a serious dramatic ensemble, playing a young Mexican-American woman in love, and that performance was strong enough to earn her an Independent Spirit Award nomination for Best Supporting Female, one of her first major acting recognitions. A couple of years later, when the Selena biopic came together, the studio and the Quintanilla family launched a huge open casting process. Thousands of women auditioned, and Lopez still had to fight for the role with formal auditions and screen tests. But director Gregory Nava already knew her from Mi Familia and had seen her discipline, emotional range, and connection to Mexican-American stories up close. That earlier collaboration helped convince him she could carry Selena. Fact number 2. The Lorena Street Bridge in Boyle Heights at 4th and Lorena was not just a backdrop, it was the emotional spine of Mi Familia. Nava and his team kept coming back to that bridge as the place where love begins, where brothers argue, and where fate finally catches up with Chucho, turning a real East LA crossing into almost a mythic stage. Nava has talked about drawing inspiration from the dark, powerful frescoes of Mexican muralist José Clemente Orozco, especially the murals at Hospicio Cabañas, when designing the look and feel of those night sequences. Chucho's death is framed like a living mural: police, family, city lights, and one body caught in a single, tragic moment, stamping Boyle Heights itself into cinema history. Fact number 3. Mi Familia almost did not get made until a literal godfather stepped in, Francis Ford Coppola. Gregory Nava has said that every major studio turned the script down. Nobody in Hollywood wanted to back a multi-generational Chicano family epic. Nava eventually met Coppola, who read the script, believed in it, and personally called New Line head Bob Shaye to vouch for the project. After that phone call, Nava says Coppola came out and told him, "Okay, your movie's a go." Coppola didn't just attach his name, he executive produced the film and gave Nava full creative freedom, even sending a telegram that essentially said, "Go make your film and make a great movie." Without that intervention, Mi Familia might have stayed a rejected script instead of a landmark of Chicano cinema. So in a very real sense, the director of The Godfather helped bring this barrio family saga to the screen. Fact number 4. Mi Familia quietly pulls together some of the heaviest Latino screen talent of its era into one family. Esai Morales plays Chucho, and Jimmy Smits plays Jimmy, brothers whose lives split between the streets and a more conventional path. On top of that, Edward James Olmos, who played Montoya Santana in American Me, anchors the story as Paco, the eldest son and narrator, bringing all the weight of his earlier Chicano prison drama work into this multi-generational family saga. For fans of American Me and Blood In Blood Out, seeing Olmos and Castillo share space in a single film feels like a crossover of different strands of Latino screen history. Fact number 5. The film's 1930s deportation sequence is not melodrama. It is rooted in a real, largely erased chapter of US history. Mi Familia shows Maria being swept up and shipped to Mexico, even though her family's life is in Los Angeles. And that storyline is based on the Mexican repatriation campaigns of the Great Depression. Historians estimate that hundreds of thousands of people of Mexican descent were pressured out of the United States during that period, and many of them were US citizens or legal residents. Nava collapses that massive history into one intimate nightmare. a mother torn from her children because the state decided it could redraw the lines of who counted as American overnight. When you rewatch that scene now, it plays less like an isolated tragedy and more like a rare mainstream record of a policy the country spent decades trying to forget. Those first 5 facts set the stage, but the next 5 go even deeper behind the scenes, into the streets, the locations, and the legacy that turned Mi Familia from a small indie into a cultural landmark. Fact number 6. The night shoots on the Lorena Street Bridge were not captured on insulated Hollywood sets, they were planted in the heart of the barrio. Because the bridge sits deep within white fence territory, local gang members were a constant presence throughout the production of Mi Familia. Director Gregory Nava recalled that the crew struck an informal deal. They hired several members as security and agreed to feed the group. What struck Nava most was their visceral hunger, how quickly they lined up for catering, a detail that underscored the crushing poverty of the neighborhood more than any script could. Fact number 7. Mi Familia was not just an East LA story, it was built on both sides of the border. To ground José's origins, the filmmakers shot in the Mexican state of Michoacán, using real towns like Pátzcuaro, Ocumicho, and nearby villages to build the texture of the family's rural life before the journey north. Doing that in the mid-90s meant moving cast, crew, and equipment between Mexico and the United States without digital workflows or today's streamlined international production pipelines. A serious logistical lift for a film that was not a big studio blockbuster. Those sequences of rivers, fields, and plazas are not generic sets. They are specific locations with their own histories. Fact number 8. Edward James Olmos does more than lend a famous voice. As Paco, he serves as the film's living memory. As the eldest son, Paco is the writer and narrator who weaves decades of struggle, joy, and loss into a coherent legacy for both his family and the audience. Casting Olmos and allowing his gravelly, measured voice to guide us through 60 years of history lends the film an instant moral weight. He arrives on screen carrying the collective soul of his previous roles in Chicano cinema. His narration transforms the movie into a grand-scale oral history, the kind of story a tío might recount at a carne asada, except here it is projected in a theater, insisting that this family's memory deserves a permanent place in the American canon. Fact number 9. Mi Familia asks you to travel across roughly 60-plus years with one family, and it pulls it off with careful makeup, costume, and performance work on an indie-scale budget. Characters like José, Maria, Jimmy, and their siblings grow from hopeful youth to worn-down middle age, and in some cases into elders, yet they remain recognizable as the same people you met at the start. That meant subtle changes to hairlines, wrinkles, clothing, and body language so that time feels like it is really passed, without turning anyone into a cartoon of old age. For a film that was never meant to be a special effects showcase, that seamless aging across 3 generations is a quiet technical achievement that makes the emotional payoff land. You feel like you have truly walked decades with this family. Fact number 10. In 2024, the Library of Congress added Mi Familia to the National Film Registry, officially recognizing it as culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant, and preserving it alongside the most important movies in American history. For a Chicano family saga that once had to fight just to get screens, that registry listing is a seismic moment, placing the story of José, Maria, Chucho, Jimmy, and the entire clan inside the official archive of what the United States chooses to remember. That last fact says everything. A film made by and for the raza, rooted in specific bridges, barrios, and border crossings, is now literally part of the nation's permanent memory. Mi Familia was always more than a movie. It was a love letter, a warning, and a mirror for la raza. And now it is officially a permanent part of the American story. If this breakdown resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Drop a comment below and let me know which fact hit you the hardest. And stay tuned for our next deep dive into the history of Chicano cinema.